This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. 1-800-610-7035 is our toll-free worldwide number. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is Mitch Battros, and Mitch began production of his syndicated television show Earth Changes TV in 1995. In November 2002, he switched to radio broadcasting and presents a live one-hour broadcast every Tuesday and Thursday from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Pacific. The show can be reached from anywhere in the world via the internet. Mitch is also the author of Solar Rain and Cosmic Rain. He's chief editor of the Earth News newsletter. And he is just one busy gentleman. And over the years, Mitch, you and I have talked about Earth changes. We've talked about what's going on in the skies and heavens around us. We've talked about ClimateGate. And here we are getting ready to enter into the year 2010. Looking back over 2009, what do you believe some of the most positive, I'm talking about the good things that science has done to help get this planet of ours finally stabilized and in a much better situation than it was?
Nothing. But that's okay. It's gonna be a long process. I mean, we've just begun. The first thing we had to do was get rid of this nonsense of global warming, as they describe it. That is, just to clarify for perhaps some of the new people in your audience. Global warming is not the way they define global warming, which means 100% man-made, is a falsehood. However, there is warming and cooling trends, and that we do need to prepare for. And so the first thing we had to do was to flesh out, what was going on with this propaganda of the so-called global warming. Of course, there's elements about the global warming thing, if you can somehow swallow being lied to, and that is alternative energies. That really is a must and a great thing. Everyone I know wants a clean air and clean environment. It's really not about that. As these emails were exposed, what we found very quickly, and to most people's surprise, is that they're in bed with the oil companies. And that, yes, it is all about the money and power and control and all that goes with it. So it was a monopoly. And unfortunately, the true victims of this are the real environmentalists themselves. They got sucked in. And so now it's really put a crimp, a damper in moving, because anything that comes out now has to go through some serious filters and discernment. So if some environmentalist scientist comes through, or global climatologist, make some announcement, they've cried wolf, and so no one's going to listen for a while. It may take 5 years, Rob. It may take 10 years before we can trust anybody again. So it's really been devastating. So at this point, for the year 2009, there has not been any movement in the way that I'm aware of, in the way of alternative energies and so forth. I think everything's been put into motion, and I think some ideas are going to follow through, such as with the car companies. We have the hybrid, first starting with Japan, of course, and the Prius. However, the American manufacturers are rapidly moving all the engineering into a cleaner energy and more miles per gallon. So that, I would say, is probably the most tangible thing that we could account for in 2009.
Stand by, my friend. You and I have to take our first break. Mitch Battros is our special guest. www.earthchangesmedia.com. That's www.earthchangesmedia.com. Mitch and I will be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break as we continue live from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the all-new X-Zone Broadcast Network. Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine like hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining room can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you're visiting, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
Are you interested in the paranormal, ghosts, UFOs, or psychic phenomenon? Join me, Tim Bartley, co-host of Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina, coming mid-January 2017 to the XZBN. We will channel spirits live and talk to them, revealing all kinds of amazing information. Spiritual attachments will be found and removed on the show, and so much more. To find out when you can listen to Talking to Spirits with Lightworkers Tim and Justina, visit www.xzbn.net for listeners on both sides of the veil.
www.earthchangesmedia.com. That's the website to find out all about Mitch Battros and his books, his amazing newsletter. And that's at www.earthchangesmedia.com. Mitch, before we went to the break, you were saying how the oil companies, have a little bit to take responsibility in what was going on with ClimateGate, and you've got an email you'd like to read to us.
Well, that's right, and there's definitely some positive news that happened for 2009 in the sciences, and definitely we'll get back to that. But the ClimateGate thing, as I predicted, is going to be silent through the holidays. I mean, that's how it always is. It's not going to spark up again till late January and then February, and then the U.S. Senate and Congress will hold hearings here in the United States, and the United Kingdom parliamentary hearings will occur as well. So here is one of the many, many, many emails that was exposed from a whistleblower, formerly known as a hacker. Now what we're finding out is that really who did this was a whistleblower. And here, these are two people, part of the 15. There's 15 lead climate scientists that were ruling everything, and this is from two of them, from a Mick Kelly to a Mike Hume, and it clearly shows the connection. And so I'm going to read just briefly this connection between so-called global warming and that the oil companies were part of it. Quote, had a very good meeting with Shell Oil yesterday. This is from a climatologist. Only a minor part of the agenda, but I expect they will accept an invitation to act as a strategic partner and will contribute to a studentship fund, though under certain conditions. I now have to wait for the top-level soundings at their end after our meeting. Goes on to say, I hear that Shell's name came up at the TC meeting, and I'm CCing one of the 15, his name is Tim, who I think was involved in that discussion, so all concerned know not to make an independent approach with the oil. I'm talking to Shell Oil International's climate change team, but this approach will do equally for the new foundation as it's only one step or so off of Shell's oil equivalent board level. And it goes on, but I'm going to stop there. So that's just one of hundreds and hundreds of emails that have come forward, really showing who these people are. They are scientists, that is true, but they're corrupt scientists. And this, as you can see, clearly shows that the oil companies, BP Oil was also another lead company involved in this.
Tell me, Mitch, do you think that Vice President was just a pawn, or did he actually know what was going on? Was Al Gore part of this?
You know, it's hard to say. I could see where he really was a pawn. He just had to, he got sucked in. It did happen to be the 1988 Senate hearing that the creator of all these lies, he's the one who actually made up the name global warming. His name is James Hansen. And Al Gore happened to be a senator at the time, so he was in the Senate hearing. And Michael Mann, along with James Hansen, are the ones who came up with nothing but computer-generated garbage. And I think Al Gore may have been innocently sucked into this, and only time will tell. There's still a going bet as to will he return his Nobel Peace Prize for global warming, or will he not? My money is that he will, because I think he's a politician above everything else. Mm-hmm. And although billions of dollars are involved, and he happens to be on the chairman of many of these committees, I think he's the type of person where he feels his reputation is more important than the money. I think. Although it could go the other way, and he'll stand fast and continue with this charade.
1-800-610-7035 is toll-free worldwide. My name is Rob McConnell. My special guest this hour, as we take a scientific look back onto the year 2009, is my good friend Mitch Battros from Earth Changes TV. His website is www.earthchangesmedia.com. That's www.earthchangesmedia.com. Mitch, I asked you earlier this segment if there were any positive things that the scientific community has done for this planet in the year 2009. Can you think of any off the top of your head?
Oh, I can. The excitement is the discoveries that are going on in the galaxy. Our instruments, our satellites, if you will, or our spacecraft, are going out so far, and the equipment is so much better. To give a comparison, it's like, in the 90s we had a 386 computer. Yeah. We were thrilled if we had a 56K modem.
Oh yeah. We were really ripping back then, weren't
we? We were ripping. And oh my gosh, if we had 10 megs of hard drive, we were really cooking.
Yeah, you were somebody back then if you had a hard drive.
You were somebody. Yeah. And as you know now, you can get a 1 terabyte. Yep. Actually, you can get a 2 terabyte hard drive. And the speed, we have these dual-core processors and so forth. So that's the analogy, that the new equipment that's up there now it has evolved so much that we are getting some never-before-seen and first-time discovered information about the unique, very close symbiotic relationship between not just our galaxy, the Milky Way, but other galaxies as well, and our solar system, and of course starting with the sun, and then with all the planets. So it's really no surprise to me that that's where cosmic rain comes in, galactic rain, is where my first book, The Solar Rain, stopped, was the Sun-Earth connection. And the natural progression would be, okay, well, what makes the sun tick? Mm-hmm. You know, is the sun does the sun have cycles? And we know it does. And if so, why? And the information that's coming out now, just in the last 2 months, is saying, yes, that there is a harmonic, rhythmic connection with extra celestial planets and orbs, dwarfs, and so forth. And there is these the patterns that they have and the energy that the galaxy itself puts out. We're learning more about black holes, and we're learning more, which pulls all this together. Well, it could be called ether. That's what the Mayans call it. The Mayans more recently have said that there is a new element. The four elements, of course, that we know are fire, water,
earth,
air,
and, wind,
and dirt. And the fifth element would be ether. If you look up in the dictionary, what's the definition of ether? It'll tell you in physics that it's charged particles. It's the space between space. So we're learning more about that, and all of it has to do with magnetism, electromagnetic a pulse, if you will, in these charged particles. And so when these galactic cosmic rays, which is the smallest of the X-ray spectrum, and the little larger ones would be the gamma ray burst, and then of course the largest one is solar flares and coronal mass ejections. All of this ties together with the rhythm and breathing of the galaxy. So, as you know, the Mayans spoke about this and sometimes described as the galactic alignment, which is coming up in 2012. The information that's coming in now is starting to make sense, pulling this puzzle together of just how something so far away could, in fact, have a geomagnetic effect on the galaxy and, of course, our solar system. What is the outcome of that? No one knows. I'm with you on this one, Rob. I don't think the date, December 21st, 2012, it's not like flipping on a switch.
Yeah.
I think December 20th is going to be the same as the 21st, is going to be the same as the 22nd. There's not going to be a noticeable difference. But the progress, the procession, which has already started, I think it is making a difference.
Just make sure to make those mortgage payments on time, folks.
That's right, yeah.
Mitch, if you were to look back at the year 2009, as I'm sure you've done many times on your great show with the wonderful scientific community guests that you get on, what was it in the year 2009 that was shock and awe to Mitch Battros?
It came at the end. To me, because of my research and the connections I have with NASA and NOAA and Royal Observatory and the U.S. Naval Observatory and so forth, is this new information that started in late October, November, and now December, of this fantastic connection that they're finding between the heartbeat of the galaxy and its very close connection to our solar system. It's extremely exciting to me. Matter of fact, it's so exciting to the scientific community. There's one body of scientists that are saying that they're concerned about the Planck mission. That's one of the spaceships that's up there. It's already up there, and the information will be coming back in 2010, later this year. Mm-hmm. They're worried that the information that they will find will be overwhelming to the science community. And they're talking about holding back information, not denying it, but letting a little bit out at a time. And this is documented because the paradigm, the shifting of the paradigm will be so large that it's going to throw science on its head. And what their concern is that people who are already conducting studies with the new information will just stop.
Mitch, we've got to stop that thought. This
Okay.
is very interesting, and as you said, this is the groundbreaking science that we're living through, and who knows, maybe this is what the minds were trying to tell us. The question is where did they get this knowledge from? Mitch Battros and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break as the X Zone continues, right here on the all-new X Zone Broadcast Network.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Mitch Battros is my special guest this hour, earthchangesmedia.com, www.earthchangesmedia.com. Mitch, is it possible that what science is finally finding is, as Kermit puts it, the rainbow connection, the string that ties us all together, the very same essence that mystics have been talking to us about for thousands of years?
It appears that way. The science is catching up. It's not to that place yet, but it's moving there rapidly. I think the information that's going to come forward, again, to make an analogy, it may be as fast as when computers first came out in the early 90s, and the difference between 1995 and 1998 was tremendous.
Yeah.
So I think in just a few years, the information that's going to come forward will be astounding. That would typically come out in probably decades. So instead of 30 years, I think we're going to have such new information of rapid understanding in more like 3 years.
What do you think that this new science or this new wealth of information is going to do to this planet? And obviously there are members of the scientific community who think that we're not ready for this information, and that's just putting it into the ballpark of those who talk about UFOs and extraterrestrial contact, is that the aliens or whoever they've been contacted by say, you guys aren't ready for this information yet.
Well, for people like me who, have reserved minds, I'm open to it, but haven't seen the evidence yet. This type of information makes it certainly more palatable, and language like that all of a sudden doesn't sound so woo-woo. That it makes sense, and I think maybe people's understanding will certainly really have no choice but to open up to new ideas.
How do you think information like you and I are talking about this hour, Mitch, will change the very essence of our religious beliefs and our understanding of our very own creation and where we fit into the grand scheme of the universe?
I think that's what some of the people are concerned about. Now, what the Mayans would tell us is that part of this transition, and that part of what the year 2012 is about, is the ending of one world, the fourth world, and the beginning of the new world, the fifth world. And as part of that transition is that it is going to be challenging to the power grabbers, to all the greed and the power-hungry people, and those that would like to control, which we've all witnessed, and that integrity will force its way through. So I think what we're going to see over the next few years is just that, a purging of the lies, such as ClimateGate, for example, a purging of the lies and deception, and perhaps a more empowering to the people, if you will. I mean, boy, wouldn't it be great if this means the end of wars and stuff? I'd love to think that. I'm not sure. But, I mean, that's kind of the direction that they're going in. So, I think only time will tell.
How about the year 2010? Based on the events that you've witnessed, the scientists, the members of the Astronomical Society, the astronauts, where do you see our planet in the year 2010, and what do you anticipate as being some of the achievements that we'll be able to witness and talk about?
Oh, again, it's already happening. Now, for people like me, I'm seeing it immediately. The vast majority, aren't going to recognize it until it's on CNN or MSNBC or, something like that. And not just once, but repeatedly. So, in other words, I'm saying that it's already happening. I'll give you an example right now. This is today's headlines. Today. Cosmic rays, particles that have been accelerated to near the speed of light, stream out from our sun all the time, though they are positively sluggish compared to what are called ultra-high energy cosmic rays. These types of cosmic rays originate from sources outside of the solar system and are much more energetic than those from our sun. Boom! I mean, that's like bam to me. It's that's my book. It's like I told you, I knew it, and here it is in print through peer reviews and documented by the top sources from all sources, the European Space Agency, NOAA, and so forth. This is unheard. I mean, because you and I speak so often, it's not jaw dropping. But those that are not paying attention, this is astounding. It's even to the science community, because remember, Rob, the science community has always been about 5 years behind me. I don't mean that from an egotistical way, not by any means. I'm just saying that as I've documented in my books, it's not that I'm talking about something after it's happened.
Yeah.
Such as the sun during its solar maximum is the source of our weather, extreme weather. That was not touched before. I mean, they would go as far as saying, well, it has something to do with our climate, and that's measured in decades and centuries and millennia, where weather is measured in 72 hours, actually even less than that. So to me, this is astounding. It's going to escalate from here. We're going to be getting information like this more often. I would say in 2010, I wouldn't be shocked if we understood, at least in part, black holes and things like that, the wormholes, the whole bit. We're going to Star Trek is where we're going. It's astounding.
We're going to Star Trek.
It's very exciting.
What other advances do you foresee in the year 2010?
Probably the prediction of earthquakes. They've been kind of throwing some things out. Not that it's new to you and I, but the mainstream is picking it up, and it's being funded by many of the universities and the governments. And so there, if a geologist or seismologist was to come forward, 5 years ago, and say that, oh, look, earthquakes can be predictable, they'd be barred, they'd be laughed at, they'd be blackballed. Now that's changed. Now they're embracing it and throwing money at it for more research. So I think that's where we're going. Actually, we're kind of on the way there. They're piecing together again, going back to geomagnetics, that there is a magnetic shift that occurs prior to these events. Just recently, this was 2 weeks ago, I think, at the maximum. Again, you and I have talked about it, and it's in my books, both books, that the sun, as well as the moon, more people have known that the moon has a relationship with earthquakes. But this article says, or release, this research says that the sun and the moon have a direct connection with earthquakes. Now, again, that may sound like a yawn to you, but to the science community, this is like astounding.
But you and I have been talking about this for years. You brought this up many years ago.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And finally here it is, and again, I'm very pleased to see it because money will be channeled towards that direction, and better research will come forward. Matter of fact, the title of the article released is "The Sun, the Moon, and Earthquakes," and it was published in the scientific journal Nature. It's incredible. So, and it goes on to say how seismologists and geologists are now confirming what you and I have already known, that there is a closely knit symbiotic relationship between us, the Earth, and the Sun, and our galaxy. It's absolutely incredible.
You the information that you're talking about today, you and I have discussed over the years. Mm-hmm. And it's finally taking the scientific community as well as the mainstream media to perk up and say, you got to be kidding. No, Mitch Battros has been telling you this for years. But I have to ask you this.
Yes.
Where did the Mayans get this information from?
I've been thinking about that, Rob. I've been thinking about that a lot, and I have a new idea. Of course, some people think that it's an alien thing. I just can't.
Nope.
I'm not seeing anything to embrace that. Although I'm not ruling it out. But this is what I think we're going to find out. And this is conjecture, in other words, just a guess, my opinion, that we're going to find out that the Mayans are much, much older than any of us believed. I'm not saying just 10,000 years old. I'm saying 50,000 years, maybe longer. And that, of course, when that was 6 million years ago, but when the asteroid hit the Yucatan, creating the Yucatan Peninsula, I think it's going to, in wiping out really life as we know it. I think there were catastrophes that we have not yet identified that may have wiped out most of civilization and everything, including man. But I think many survived these events. And my hypothesis at the moment is that we're going to find that the Mayans are the culture is much, much older than we ever realized. And that what they did was simply monitor and keep records that would take 50,000 years to put together. And I think it may be something like that.
These are fabulous times to be living in, and knowing that we have the accessibility as well as the ability to appreciate the wonders that are unfolding on a day-to-day basis, Mitch. In my world, it is phenomenal. But in your world, here you are, the man who was saying this before science would even consider the theories, and you've said that, you've brought so many things out in your books, in your presentations, on your radio show, on your TV show, on your internet website, on your newsletter. Man, this must make you feel beyond words.
It does. It makes me feel beyond words. That's right. Not from an ego place again. In fact, as you know, Rob, because you're one of them, a trailblazer is usually never the one who gets the glory. Mm-hmm. It's always the ones following the trailblazer.
Yeah.
that will take credit, and that's what's going to happen here, and that's fine. I'm just personally thrilled, and I don't need to get the accolades for it, but just knowing that my intuition, wherever it comes from, was right on the money, and that is just so fascinating to me. As far as the scientific community, remember, I'm not a scientist. I'm the Bob Woodward of the science community, and for some of your audience that may not know who Bob Woodward is a research journalist with politics, and he knows the inside information because he goes and he talks to all the top politicians, the president, vice president, all the senators, all the congressmen, the whole bit. But he's never run for office. So I'm that person in the science community. I'm not a scientist. I do have a science degree, but it's for mental health. It's in psychology, and I have worked for FEMA. I do still have association with FEMA and the Red Cross. That's all true. I do have my master's degree, but I would not be classified as a scientist. But what I do is I go directly to the top of the top scientists of all the agencies and universities that we think of, and I have direct communication with them. And that's how I get my information. So I'm the one who puts the puzzle together, and just like with doctors, another analogy, it's amazing to me how the left hand truly does not know what the right hand is doing. That's where I came in. In other words, when I initially started my research for solar rain, I went to NOAA, and I said, Noah, what is this El Nino thing? You keep talking, my weatherman keep telling me El Nino, La Nina, no, what the heck is this? And they would tell me, well, it's the Southern Pacific Oscillation. In other words, it's about ocean currents, and they're shifting. Oh, that's interesting. Could you tell me what causes that? Well, no, you'll have to go to NASA to get that. So, NOAA doesn't know what NASA's doing. NASA doesn't know. So a geologist doesn't know what a solar physicist knows, and a solar physicist doesn't know what a geologist knows, and we could go on down the line. So I went to all the disciplines and asked all these questions. How does all this tick? And then I cohesively put it all together, and that's how it happened for me, and that's how I've been able to document what science is confirming today that I did beginning in 1998.
Stand by, friend. You and I have to take our final break. Mitch Battros is our special guest. www.earthchangesmedia.com. That's www.earthchangesmedia.com. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone, and you're listening to us on the all-new X-Zone Broadcast Network.
19 Sergeant Central. 19 Sergeant, check. Officers on the scene.
Hi, I'm Larry Lawson, host of Paranormal Stakeout. With over 36 years in law enforcement, I have learned a few things. The most important is the proper gathering and preservation of evidence is vital to putting the bad guy behind bars. It's no different in the world of paranormal investigation. Whether it's the search for the afterlife, cryptozoology, UFOs, and extraterrestrials, how we gather the evidence, preserve that evidence, and present it to a jury of our peers will make the ultimate difference in proving the existence of worlds and entities that are beyond our imagination. Join me, Larry Lawson, every week on Paranormal Stakeout when, along with my guests, we'll take a journey to prove with indisputable evidence what man has struggled to believe for centuries. Go to xzbn.net for the broadcast schedule and check me out at paranormalstakeout.com.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. And welcome back, everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity of thanking all our guests tonight. Tara Green joined us in hour number 1. We took a tarot card and psychic look into the year 2010 with Tara's predictions. Mark Macy and I discussed ITC. Elizabeth Joyce shared with her psychic views of the year 2010. And Mitch Battros, well, what can I say about Mitch except he's a great guy, a good friend, and brought us some phenomenal information. Mitch's website is www.earthchangesmedia.com. That's earthchangesmedia.com. Mitch, what's going to be happening with you and Earth Changes Media in the year 2010?
Oh, I'm chasing. I'm chasing the rainbow, if you will. I'm going right after what the scientists are disclosing about the connection, the information coming from these new satellites, spacecrafts, and so forth. These new instruments that are giving us profound information about our home, the solar system, but way beyond that, and truly our galaxy, the Milky Way, and beyond.
Now, Mitch, is it possible that we will now see or have a better understanding of the biological makeup of not only new life forms on other planets, but new life forms here on this planet that up until now have been hidden by the lack of theoretical probability that this new science is going to be bringing to us?
That's a good question that I don't have the answer to. If it was to occur, I think it'd be at the end of the year, if not closer to 2012. I'm not sensing that direction, other than microbial amoebas, in water and so forth. Nothing really beyond that.
Mitch, you and I talk at a level of probabilities. We talk about reality. We talk about things that people can sink their teeth in, and then you get a news release or a news bulletin here, as we did a few minutes ago, where President Obama has made the following statement, and it's in quotes: "Mix of human and systemic failures allowed terror suspect to board airliner in failed bombing." That is scary. That is scary.
What's the scariest part of that? Of course, it's the truth, and we've all known that. I mean, it's just common sense. What he's leaving out, and again, I don't like to go too much into the politics.
20 seconds, Mitch.
Okay. Oh, then never mind. I don't even want to. That is just.
Oh, we'll talk about that the next time you're with us, Mitch. From our home to yours and your lovely family, nothing but the very best of health, happiness, prosperity, and spirituality for you all in the year 2010.
Perfectly said. Same for you, Rob.
Take care, my good friend. Mitch Battros, www.earthchangesmedia.com. Well, that's it for tonight, everyone. As always, thank you for allowing us to be part of your day or night, no matter where you are in this great big world of ours. To all our production staff here at the X Zone Radio TV Broadcast Network, thank you guys. And remember to always keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Good night, everyone.